I'm Drew Galdron, otherwise known as Faux BoJo, and I impersonate the Foreign Secretary.
I know that long before the referendum result, you did your Faux Boris anyway. What made you decide to become involved with the vigil?
I pretty much decided I would come along and see what the vigil thought of my performance. And until then, although they were using music as part of their vigil, they hadn't really had any major ideas for entertaining the crowds. And I happened to be a resident of Greater London who was able to come along quite regularly and perform.
Great.
So they were quite glad to have me along, and I've really appreciated their gratitude and generosity as well.
Great. Because you have the unique aspect of humour to the other protests, do you think that brings people on board?
I think we certainly draw a lot of people's attention. You know, I think that there's only certain kinds of attention that protests like this can gain from just waving EU flags around, of course. But when you know, everyone regularly at the vigil tells me, people have come past and they've looked and they've thought it was the real thing, and you know, it's made them stop. It's made them take interest. It's given people involved enough time to approach them and approach these passers-by and give them flyers, leaflets and such.
Do you think you could kindly give me a little rendition of Boris with Theresa?
Don't you ever say I just walked away. I will always want EU. I just live a lie, fumbling through my life, but I will always want EU. I came in like a bawling wreck, then Theresa made me Foreign Secretary, but all I wanted was to break Dave's balls. Oh, all I ever did was wreck the country. Yes, I wrecked the country. I made a terrible shash of things.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Can I just ask a last question? Not knowing how the Brexit negotiations will develop, do you plan to continue doing Faux Boris within a sort of vigil or a protest group, or will you go back to what you originally did?
I'll be doing the vigil for as long as I can, and I'll be impersonating Boris for as long as he's in politics, which frankly he might as well take as a threat as far as it goes, but I'm not really saying that. But what I will definitely say is that Brexiters should be the ones who ought to be really worried, because they've done enough damage to Britain's reputation abroad with their attitudes. And I keep making very clear to Brexiters that Britain is going to lose all of its global influence and trade in a year's time if we don't stop Brexit. If we continue things the way that these Brexiters still want, I know that will happen.
Lovely, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.